It's actually really hard to find a monitor that fits every need these days. From resolution, refresh rate, and feature set, there's just a lot to be on the lookout for. Personally, I want a monitor that can play single-player games well at 4K resolution, but also esports titles at insane frame rates. I want HDR, mini-LED panel, and some really good color accuracy for content creation. But I also don't want to drop $1,000 on a monitor. That's why I'm glad KTC sponsored this video to show off their new 27-inch mini-LED monitor that can do just about everything, from gaming to content creation and everything in between. This is the M27P6 from KTC, a 27-inch 4K 160Hz mini-LED panel. It's aiming to be the one monitor solution for people who do a little bit of everything. Now usually I don't do videos on monitors because for a long time it's just been, monitor look good. But this one actually has some really cool features that make it enticing for people like me. Let's start with what makes this thing really stand out and is the biggest thing on the box, mini LED, and what that even really means. So instead of a traditional backlight with just a few dimming zones, the M27P6 has 1,152 zones, each one with its own LED. That means when you've got a dark scene, like this one in Ghost of Tsushima, the shadows stay deep and black, while a torch or a fire arrow right next to it pops at insane brightness. It's all about precision dimming, so you're not getting those giant gray patches or washed out blacks you see on standard LED panels. KTC rates this at a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio, and it's HDR 1400 certified. So HDR isn't just a checkbox here, it's legitimately eye-searing at up to 1400 nits peak brightness. Explosions, neon signs, sunsets, and cyberpunk, they actually look like HDR is supposed to look. Of course though, brightness and contrast mean little if the gaming performance isn't there. You're looking at native 4K at 160Hz with a 2 millisecond overdrive response time and full support for both FreeSync Premium Pro and it's G-Sync compatible. In real life though, that just means silky smooth motion in every game, no matter the resolution and frame rate. But if you're into competitive play, there's even a dual frequency overclock mode that drops the resolution to 1080p, but cranks the refresh rate all the way to 320Hz, which is absolutely wild. It's like having an esports monitor baked into your 4K panel. So for me, that means when I'm playing single player games like Spider-Man or even editing videos, I'm in 4K and I'm enjoying every single pixel. Then when it's time to get cracked in Fortnite or Counter-Strike 2, I throw on dual mode and try to get as many frames as possible. This kind of versatility is what makes a premium monitor totally worth it. Let's check out the physical aspects. The monitor is VESA compatible, so it can be mounted on the arm of your choice. But if you just want to use the included stand, it has some really good adjustments to fit on any desk. The ports in the back are pretty substantial as well, including a 65-watt high-powered USB-C so you can get pass-through charging in case you're plugging in a laptop. So you can charge your MacBook and have the display out through just a single cable. For my console homies out there, you've got HDMI 2.1 ports, so PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X can push 4K at 120Hz with HDR on, no problem. We've talked a lot about gaming so far, but let's get back to the productivity part of this monitor. The color accuracy included will make this monitor fit perfectly into most people's workflow, with 99.5% of sRGB color space and basically every color space you'd need for video editing, photo work, or design. And KTC actually gives you quick presets to switch between them, so you can game in one setting, then flip over to Adobe RGB for editing without digging through a bunch of calibration software. But what does it actually feel like to use? Honestly, HDR is the star of the show. Watching content or gaming in HDR 1400 is just a different experience. It's way beyond what most monitors can do. Dark games like Resident Evil 4 Remake feel way more immersive, and then something like F1 2024 with bright skies and reflective cars just punches through in a way that SDR can't match. On the creator side, I really like that I don't have to compromise. I can make thumbnails in Adobe RGB and then immediately jump into gaming without changing monitors. No more compromises, or God forbid having a monitor for gaming, a monitor for color grading, and a monitor for content. That might fly at big production studios, but I'm just a guy. I want everything in one. It's hard to show on camera how good a monitor looks, or how the HDR pops off the screen, but But I've been using this monitor as my daily driver for a while now, and it's been a really great experience. I keep it in 4K when playing something like Spider-Man 2, then when I want to switch to a fast-paced competitive shooter like the finals, I throw it into dual mode so I can get that 320Hz refresh rate. I can't say for a fact that it's made me a better gamer, but it certainly does feel like it. At the very least, it's really fun to get that buttery smooth FPS on screen. And of course, editing on it in 4K is a delight as well. I edited my entire last video on it and I really enjoyed how bright and lively it felt. I personally get a lot of eye strain while video editing, mostly due to just staring at a screen for super long times. But editing on this did feel great, and I can say that I was able to avoid at least some of the headaches from eye strain. Hey guys, a little break from the video. I just wanted to say that I talk a lot in this video about specifically 4K and 1080p, but I really neglect 1440p. What I wanted to say is that whenever I play most games, they actually are, well, most AAA games, they actually are in 1440p. I don't have a computer strong enough to play, you know, the newest and greatest things at 4K, so I do play a lot of indie games at 4K, but primarily when I'm playing AAA games, I'm playing at 1440p, and they actually look pretty amazing, to be honest. See, a lot of the time when you're playing on a 4K monitor and you scale it down to 1440p or, you know, another resolution, it just looks bad. Like, you can't say exactly why it looks bad, it just looks bad. It looks like, you know, text will look blurry, things are just off, and it's like, you can tell something happened. But on this, I don't get any of that, really. Like, when I'm playing in 1440p, everything just looks, I mean, looks good. I can't really tell a difference as if this was a native 1440p monitor or 4K. And I like that a lot because, I mean, if I'm buying a 4K monitor now, it means I get to use it for a longer time. Where if I'm using if I play most games in 1440p and I buy a 1440p monitor, there's nowhere to go, right? You're just kind of stuck there. But if you have the 4K monitor, well, you know, eventually in, you know, 5 years or maybe less or whatever, you can upgrade and you don't have to buy a whole new monitor. You've already got it, right? But I especially like keeping it at 4K when I'm like watching a TV show or a 4K movie or something. And then whenever I'm playing a really hardcore AAA game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth here, just 1440p is good to go. So this is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 1440p with HDR turned on. And I'm gonna get into a little scuffle here so you can see the particle effects I talk about with HDR turned on. And basically, if you notice, everything's a really dark scene here. We're in a very dark area because there's like a shadow, an overcast, and you can kind of see some of the brightness coming from the sun here, but it's gonna be primarily in the particle effects that you're gonna see that HDR turned on. So whenever I attack and they attack me, you're gonna see a lot of lightning, a lot of like these bright parts, and that's those mini LEDs just going crazy. See the lightning? It is significantly brighter than anything around it, and you're not gonna get that on a traditional LED TV or LCD screen. It just looks so bright and vibrant and cool. It makes all the particle effects that come out of like your weapon or your sword or fire or anything like that just look that much better. And this game it specifically is within like the particle effects, but it's in different games use it differently. You can see here, this looks fantastic on 1440p, and those particle effects are going crazy. Let me do a summon, and that should really show off some particles. The Phoenix summon is insane. You see all these little bright bubbles coming off. See, and it's like blinding me. You can tell it's like, if you have it turned up all the way, it's actually really bright. This is lowered for the camera a little bit. It is just so bright and vibrant and gorgeous. Like, oh, look at all these particle effects, the fire on the ground, the wisp of the air. It just looks so crazy. And that's the difference that HDR is gonna have. And that's the difference that really those mini LEDs are gonna have. So it just goes to show, like, even in 1440p, 4K, 1080p, all of those settings are gonna look good on this monitor. So like, no matter what you do, just having that versatility to me is like always worth it. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's finish this part of the section off so we can see the Phoenix. See the brightness of the fire? Oh my God. It looks amazing. It looks fantastic. Oh my goodness. That's all you gotta see. The M27P6 is trying to do a lot, and honestly, it pulls it off. As a gaming monitor, it's fast, responsive, and console ready. As a creator monitor, it's bright, accurate, and versatile. And then as an all-around display, it works fantastically in just about every sense. So if you're looking for a single monitor that can handle everything, competitive shooters, cinematic single-player games, streaming, content creation, even powering your laptop, this one might check all the boxes for you. I'll have links in the video description if you want to check out this monitor. Thanks to the channel members for supporting the channel, and thanks again to KTC for sponsoring this video. My name is Jason. Thanks for watching.